Hello everyone, welcome back to Assetto Corsa Competizione for what's going to be a really challenging Coach Dave GT3 Sprint race on a track I'm not too familiar with, the Hungaroring. As a result, we've qualified all the way down in P15. However, my qualifying time of 1:45.7 is within 1 second of pole position man Dominic Keebler. So all in all, I'm quite pleased with that qualifying. Whenever I'm within 1 second of pole, I'm usually quite happy. Bear in mind too that we're car number 26 with the lowest ranked driver in this high split. What can we do? Let's get on track. Well, as per usual, the Ferrari never the most enthusiastic to get going as the lights go green. As a result, we've lost one position to Alexei Bakunski in the McLaren. We've got two more cars on our outside, but there is a gap on the inside for us to tuck it on. We get really close to Al Gennaro there. A couple of the drivers hung it out really wide through turn one. One of them is Heiko Müller. He started just in front of me. He's on our inside now, so I can't move to the inside line. I'm going to have to hang it out wide to give Müller space. It's really congested through this section, and as a result there was no way through for Müller. There might be a way through for me up the inside of Kevin Schmitz though, and there's an incident to the left. Schmitz may have got caught up in that, and we've got a much better run than the number 10 Ferrari of Marcel Ballier. However, I do back out. I didn't fancy being on the outside through that fast left-hander. However, another opportunity may present itself here. A gap has opened up on the inside. We have got past Ballier. We're now up into 11th position. Oh, there was a sniff of 10th there as well, but I just didn't fancy being on the inside of that Porsche ahead through the chicane. But what a start we've had here. We've made real progress, and as a result we're up into 11th place on the fringes of the top 10 already. Now, whether we've got the pace to maintain this as the pack spreads out and the track opens up remains to be seen, but we've put ourselves in a really strong position through this first lap. Remember too that we're punching well above our weight here. We're in a high split for this Low Fuel Motorsport race, and we're car number 26, actually on a grid of 25 now, so we've lost one driver before the lights even went green, so we are the lowest ranked driver on this grid. However, one lap in, we are holding our own, but it's a long way to go. 23 more minutes yet out of the final turn to end this opening lap. We're trying our very best to stick with Christian fixing that Porsche ahead. However, he is starting to open up a little bit of a gap now. Meanwhile, look in the rearview mirror. Ballier behind is just 0.3 of a second back, and he's going to have a very late look up the inside into T1. We have to abort our apex at the last possible moment there to avoid contact. Somehow, we've managed to hold on to our 11th position, but it is going to be tough. Right, let's check out the replay to see how we gained some of those positions, and the big incident occurred right at the front of the pack. Watch the number 12 Ferrari, that's Maxwell getting tagged from behind by the McLaren of Ryan White. He's going to get hit not once but twice, and that second hit from that bright blue McLaren of Al Gennaro was a big one. Thankfully, we managed to get through that and gain a couple of positions from it. Let's ride on board with Gennaro, and we can see he makes the ill-fated decision to try and go around the outside of the Lamborghini, only to run right in to the stationary Maxwell. We profited from that collision and gained a couple of places. Then at the next corner we're going to pick up one more. There was a gap on the inside of Marcel Ballier, and we took it. Returning to the live action then at the end of lap 2, and I'm doing everything that I can to try and stick with this pack in front. However, slowly but surely they are beginning to creep away. We're just within a second of them now. However, we're going to be a lot slower coming out of this final turn to start lap 3. Look at that gap open up. Meanwhile, behind, I've been put under pressure throughout that second lap from Marcel Ballier. Now, if I start defending too hard at this early stage in the race, I've got no hope of keeping up with that pack in front. So I make the decision just to open up that gap on the inside and let Ballier through. I think I've got a better chance of sticking with this top 10 if I chase the faster Ballier. Well, that's the theory at least. Only time will tell whether it's a wise decision or not. But as we approach T2, Ballier has missed the apex completely. So at the moment, we're losing ground on that pack in front, not closing in on them. Hopefully Ballier will settle down when he realises that I'm not in any hurry to get back past him, and we can work together to reel in this pack in front. It does look like he's getting a bit closer again now as we approach this hairpin at the back part of the circuit. Oh, another missed apex from Ballier, and he pulls me in to making the same mistake. I think we all need to settle down at the moment. Oh, the Ballier's going to try and move up the inside into the chicane, is he? Oh, thankfully, he thinks better of it and takes to the curb to avoid running into Bakunski there, but that could have ended disastrously if he tried to follow that one through. But so far, my plan is not working. I'd envision Ballier being able to pull me along to join that top 10, but at the moment, it's bringing the other cars behind me even closer. Look in the rearview mirror. Roger Casadella is now within 0.3 of a second. Well, I knew this race was going to be tough, but at the moment I am pushing as hard as I can just to cling on and stick with these guys. It does look like the pack is getting closer in front, so let's switch on the TV cam. We're going to be watching Alexei Bakunski in that orange and black McLaren because he is going to be put under more and more pressure now from Marcel Ballier behind. Now, Ballier put me under all sorts of pressure through lap 2. I ended up letting him pass into T1. It'll be interesting to see what Bakunski decides to do. So we're starting lap 4 now. I'm beginning to lose touch with these guys. That's a little worrying, but watch the TV cam. Ballier's going to try and move up the inside, is he? No, I think he faded the move, but it worked. It spooked Bakunski, and he's out really wide. The two of them side by side now as they begin the charge down to this left-hander. Bakunski on the inside, Ballier on the outside. There's contact. That's going to slow the both of them down, and we're now right back on their tail again. Just 0.2 of a second behind the Ferrari of Ballier as we snake our way down through this fast section. And we've got company behind as well. Roger Casadella and Kevin Schmidt both within a second now. Casadella putting me under all sorts of pressure. Ballier was sideways through that corner for a moment. I thought about sending it up the inside to try and take the position back. I thought better of it, but yeah, 4 or 5 cars now separated by less than a second. This is intense racing at the Hungaroring. It does look like the pressure has eased on Alexei Bakunski for now, so we'll switch the TV cam off and concentrate on our own race. At the moment, I think we've got more problems with Casadella behind than we do with Ballier in front. And so improved. We're going to jump forward now to lap 6 and look at that gap to Ballier. It's now 1.6 seconds while Casadella is all over me behind. Now we're going to switch the TV cam back on to watch Alexei Bakunski as I take way too much of the curb on the inside there. That is going to cost me lots of speed down this back straight. Look at Casadella close in. Meanwhile, on the TV cam, Bakunski has made a mistake. The pressure is finally getting to him. He missed the apex completely there, and now Ballier is all over him like a wasp. Keep watching Bakunski into the chicane. He takes too much of the curb on the inside. He takes even more of the curb on the outside. It sends it onto the grass. Ballier is past. Bakunski flashing his headlights. I'm not sure what help that is going to do, but yeah, Bakunski is now down into 11th position. We're in 12th, but we're still a good 1 second behind this pack in front. Meanwhile, behind there does appear to be a little bit of breathing room. It's not much. It's only 0.8 of a second, but it's more than what we had a lap or so ago, so I'll take that at this stage as we close right in on the McLaren of Bakunski. Well, we do seem to be finding some pace at just the right time here. Look at the delta. We're more than a second up on our previous fastest lap, and we're almost on qualifying pace now. If we can just hold this pace through the final turn, we should be clocking a 1:45.7. So I feel like I'm driving out of my skin here, clocking personal best laps, yet still it's not enough to close in on any of these cars in front. A 1:45.8 in the end. That would have been so much quicker if I hadn't clobbered that curve coming out of turn 3. But let's see what we can do if we can keep this momentum going, continue to bring the lap times down. We may yet close in on this pack in front. At the moment, the gap is still 1.1 seconds. And how far is Casadella behind? 0.5 of a second, so it's still close, but at least it's only 1 car behind now. Schmitz has dropped off a bit. We come through turn 3. We get it much quicker this time. Look at the delta fly up. That's what a difference it made on the last lap. So we're now 0.4 of a second up on our previous lap time. This is now faster than I've ever driven around the Hungaroring, yet still we're losing ground to the cars in front. And equally demoralising, we're unable to shake off Casadella behind. He's still just 0.5 of a second back through the chicane. We've lost a car to the right. That's gained us a position. We're up to 11th. That was Soren Schneider, who was running well inside the top 10. Thankfully, we managed to get through without the need to lift, so we're maintaining our record lap pace here, although we do just get a bit of a slide on coming through that section. We were 0.5 of a second up on the delta. That's down to 0.2. Oh, it's going down even further now. I think I might have put the tyres here. We're at the halfway point of the race, and all of a sudden I'm losing grip almost by the corner, it feels. Somehow we're maintaining a 0.2 of a second advantage on the Delta. Well, that's going to go now with a big slide into the penultimate turn. That invites Casadilla to challenge behind. We're losing all our time now into the final corner. Another big slide. I'm really struggling now to control the rear end of this Ferrari. Tyre pressures don't look too bad. Maybe a little bit high on the fronts, but look at those temperatures on the rears. We are struggling here. Right, let's take a breather from the live action and we can see a replay of this spin from Soren Schneider. That's what gave us 11th position. Back to the live action now at the start of lap 8 and we are really struggling with grip. Look at that gap in front. It's now 1.5 seconds to Baginski in 10th position and we're still being put under all sorts of pressure from Casadella behind. It's just 0.3 of a second back and we're in real trouble here. I don't know how long I can keep this car facing in the right direction. I'm sliding into and out of every corner at the moment. And here's another example. We just can't get it turned through that right-hander. We're going to lose loads of speed. Look at Casadella behind. He's right on our tail now. Oh, big mistake. We took too much of the curb on the inside. Casadella's on our outside now. We're going to have to hug this inside curb. We're too wide through this corner. I'm staying tight to the right to give Casadella space. Or where's he gone? Casadella's not there anymore. Well, I certainly didn't feel any contact and I hugged as tight a line as I could through there, so we're going to have to check out the replay to see what happened to Casadilla. Watch the red Ferrari, he's right on my tail and I'm going to make a big mistake here. I turn in too early, I take too much of the grass. Casadella's going to move to the outside. Oh, he just runs in way too hot. Yeah, nothing I did there, I don't think. I mean, I made a big mistake to begin with, but once I'd done that, I stayed to the inside line. I didn't move across. It was Casadella who moved to the outside, but he's just carrying too much speed. He's never going to get it stopped. One final look from the chopper cam. Once I've made the mistake, all I can do is hold that same line, be predictable and hug the inside curve. I did all of those things, but unfortunately Casadella didn't make it through the corner. So what has that done to the standings on track? Well, we're rejoining the live action towards the end of lap 9 and look at that gap to Bakunski in 10th position. He's now nearly 4 seconds clear, so I've given up all hope of challenging for a top 10 here. And look at me still sliding through these corners and now I'm under all sorts of pressure from Kevin Schmitz in that Mercedes. He's just 0.4 of a second behind in 12th and then we've got Peter Jeffrey in 13th. The number 1 car, he's less than 2 seconds behind as well, so we're going to jump forward a couple of laps. We're on lap 11 now. I'm still managing to hold the pair of them off, but it is getting really close. Look how tight it is through turn 1. Schmidt's right on my tail now. Once again, I'm struggling to find any grip through T1. Look at Schmitz flashing his headlights in the rearview mirror. I don't quite know what he wants me to do other than defend my position. So we're going to hug a tight line through this left-hander. Schmitz is going to have a look up the inside. We're going to close the door. So yeah, perhaps a little bit more aggressive defending than I would normally do, but he's winding me up with the constant headlight flashing at the moment. And as a result of slamming that door shut in the previous corner, it did force Schmitz to get on the brakes a little bit harder than he probably would have wanted. As a result, it's given me some respite. The gap now is up to 0.9 of a second. But is it going to be enough over the final 5 minutes of this race? Unlikely, given how much I'm struggling to control this car now. We're returning to the live action at the start of lap 13, and my lack of grip is finally going to bite me. I lose the rear coming out of T1. I have to get off the gas. It's going to cost me a load of speed. Look at Schmitz behind. He's pulled alongside me. He's too close for me to shut the door this time, so I've got no choice but to hang it out wide. Schmitz goes in really wide as well, and I lose control. The rear steps out. Thankfully, I get a whack from Jeffrey, which sends me pointing back in the right direction again. But make no mistake about it, I am in real trouble now. I can't control this car. I'm under pressure from Andreas Muller behind and Roger Casadella. I'm going to hug the inside curving. I'm going to let these two guys through. I'm in such a mess. I'm a danger to everyone at the moment. I need to regroup. I'm so grateful that my spin a few corners ago didn't take out Peter Jeffrey. He hit me pretty hard, but thankfully he managed to keep on going. But it was all my mistake, that one. I was just pushing too hard, trying to drive beyond my capabilities and the capabilities of the tyres now, it seems, in the hope that I can hold on to that 11th position. As a result, my race is unravelling. I'm in a complete mess. The rear steps out again, and that is going to invite a challenge from Muller. Heiko Muller on the outside. I'm going to have to take a tight entry into this corner. Once again, the rear steps out. I'm struggling big time to control this car now. Muller goes by. We're going to lose another position as well. Alberto Del Rio in the Honda taking full advantage. Dear me, we're down to 17th now. Well, I knew it was going to be a struggle over these final few laps, but I had hoped that I could hold on. Sadly, it wasn't to be. It's only a small mistake coming out of T1, but it cost me a load of momentum. Watch Smits. That black Mercedes is carrying much more pace. He pulls alongside, so I can't shut the door at this point. I've got to hang it out wide, and in doing so, I just lose the rear. I slide right into the path of Peter Jeffrey. Thankfully, Jeffrey manages to keep on going. Returning to the live action, less than 2 minutes on the clock now. We're going to have this lap and one more after it. We're down to 17th, having been in 11th just a couple of laps ago. We're really struggling. Can we do anything from here? Del Rio having a look up the inside of Muller by the looks of it. Oh, he's run into the back of Muller. Muller slides right across the track. We dive up the inside. All of a sudden, we've been gifted 2 positions back. So that puts us back into the top 15 for how long I don't know, because Al Gennaro is right behind us. But let's go back and check out the replay to see what happened in that incident. Now, from my vantage point, it looks like Del Rio in that yellow Honda was going to make a move up the inside into T1, so I wonder if Muller weaved across. Yeah, he does do. Look, he decides to defend, but Del Rio had already committed to the inside line. That's what causes the contact, and that's what promotes me up 2 positions back into 15th. Well, the final 2 laps of this race are the longest 2 laps I think I've ever experienced. By the time I got to the penultimate corner, I thought I'd done enough to hold on to this 15th position. Gennaro is 0.6 of a second behind. However, this lack of grip is going to give me one more big fright into the final turn. Look, we're sideways through the corner. I have to wait for what seems like an age to be able to get on the gas. That invites Gennaro to challenge. It's a drag race to the line. We just hang on to 15th place. Jeez, yeah, look at this replay and we can see just how close I came to disaster in the very final corner. Look at that slide. We're almost sideways through there. That invites Gennaro to challenge. Thankfully, we just got enough pace to hold on by half a car length. So yeah, really tough this race at the Hungaroring. I've managed to hold on and get a top 15, which actually, when you think about it, being car number 26 isn't a bad result. My fastest lap in the race was a 1:45.7. That matched what I did in qualifying, and it's a fairly respectable time. It would have been good enough to hold its own against 5 or 6 of the drivers in front of me, but unfortunately, I learned too late that tyre wear is a really big thing on this track. I didn't manage my tyres at all well. I pushed too hard in the early going, and I had nothing left for the second half of the race. So a learning experience for sure. If you've got any tips or advice on managing tyres better in ACC, particularly on this track, please do let me know in the comments. I need all the help I can get. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again on the grid very soon.